What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a review for Married at First Sight, Season 16, you guys, episode number 8. The episode is titled Poised for Battle. So before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys aren't yet subscribed to the channel, then do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out the way, you guys, without further ado, let's discuss Married at First Sight, shall we? All right, you guys, so how we feeling? I want to just pose a question to everybody out there who's watching my videos, who watches Married at First Sight. What are we thinking about Married at First Sight overall this season with these couples? Are we feeling it? Are we not feeling it? Leave them in the comment section below. So for me, the couples ain't really giving anything to me. I feel like so many of them just need to go ahead and say divorce, divorce, divorce. We're gonna say them for last. Let's go ahead and start up with Nicole and Chris, you guys. So with Nicole and Chris, so you guys know that Nicole has one dog, Chris has two dogs, right? So at this point, they're going to be introducing, Nicole's going to be introduced to Chris's dogs, and Chris is going to be meeting Nicole's dog, and then they'll begin together as a family to meet together. And the whole time I was looking at this, I just kept thinking back to last season with Justin and Alexis, and I was just like, ooh, for the love of God, don't let us have another Alexis and Justin situation, right? So we get to Chris's house, so Nicole met Chris's dogs first, right? Chris and his dogs. The fact that the dogs was all over the couch, all over his bed, and his bedroom. I was looking at his bed. I'm like, you ain't got no headboard, no nothing. So you just, and then his bed looks small, and then them some big ass dogs. So I was like, Chris plus them big ass dogs in this little bitty ass bed. No. Where does Nicole factor into this equation? Hell, as of right now, she really doesn't factor, right? Then the fact that one of Chris's dogs went around, he was humping the bed and humping the couch. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this dog? Like, the dog was just humping everything, right? So I have some feelings about Chris, and I think I'm gonna address them in a few minutes. So we got to the point where they introduced the dogs to each other, right? And like I said a few minutes ago, I was having flashbacks to Alexis and Justin last season, San Diego, right? With Newton and Justin's dog, how that didn't go well. But for Chris and Nicole, things went smooth. The dogs liked each other. They really weren't paying too much attention to each other, but they were at the same time, right? So here's what I was going to say about Chris. So remember, in the last episode, Chris was upset because with the apartment, only 2 dogs can go into the apartment, right? Chris has 2 dogs. She has 1 dog, right? So that's a total of 3 dogs. And I didn't think about it in last week's episode review, but I thought about it in this week's review because I was more so thinking about the fact that Nicole was like, you know what, to make Chris happy, she would sacrifice her dog, right? But then I started thinking about it over the weekend, and I was like, you know what, Chris? It's a little bit selfish, right? I think it's a little bit selfish because you have 2 dogs and she only has 1, and you can only bring 2. Why not figure out a situation for one of your dogs? Now, I know Chris says they have separation anxiety, but is it the dogs or is it you at this point, right? So I just think it's a little bit selfish that Nicole's dog can't stay at the house, at the apartment, but your 2 big ass dogs can. Like, I just had a little bit of an issue with that, right? So also in this episode, they talked about the fact, so their leases are about to be up. So Chris's lease is going to be up before Nicole's is up. And, he's trying to figure out what they have to do because you have to give a 60-day notice. Now, see, the last apartment that I lived in, not the last one, but the one before that, I gave them a 60-day notice that I was moving out. They were talking about they wanted a 90-day notice. I was like, wait a minute, wait. 30 days, not 30 days, but they wanted a 90-day notice. I was like, why would I give y'all a 90-day notice? I'm like, I gave y'all 2 months notice before I moved out. I moved out in June. Actually, I moved out in July. I notified them in May. So I was like, y'all had May and June, and then I moved out in July. Like I notified y'all in May. But they're at that point, right? So his lease is up first and then hers is up second. So they now need to figure out what do they want to do once this process is over. Now, Chris actually made a valid point, but he made one valid point, but I also thought about something else that could have been done, right? Here's the thing. I get it. You don't know where things are going to lie once you guys get to decision day because there's so much time in between this now and decision day. So many things, so many variables, so many factors could change, right? But he's saying, but even still, you can put in your notice. You can say that, oh, I'm going to move out at the end of my lease. But then if it comes time before your lease is up, if you say, you know what, I want to stay, you can, unless they, and God forbid, they put it on the market, right? That's the only thing. That's the only negative side, is if they put it on the market. Cause that's what my old apartment, what my apartment complex was talking to me about. I was like, why would I give y'all a 90-day notice? My mind could change. I said, well, I gave y'all enough time to figure out what to do with that apartment. Like, I was like, I gave y'all more than enough time. I was like, and what if I decided, what if I told y'all I wanted to, it was just so many things that went in. They were like, it was just so much stuff with that apartment, but that's neither here nor there. But in the meantime, with Chris and Nicole, the thing is, you could say that you want to stay, but also if they feel like they're going to be good together, you could also look for a place of your own together. That's an option, Chris. That's an option, but I guess Chris didn't take it. But hey, that's what it is, right? So, because he suggested that they renew their leases for another 9 months. Oh, when you're doing a month-to-month leases, that's more expensive than what your actual lease, what you were actually leasing for. Because I remember my last apartment complex that I was talking about, they were trying to put me on. They wanted to put me at one point. At that point. Because like I said, I told them 60 days before I moved out, and they put a thing on my door saying month to month. And I reached out to them once again and I said, I'm not doing month to month. I told y'all I was moving out. What do y'all want me to do? I gave you enough time to say, hey, my ass is moving out of this apartment. I don't want to stay here. So Nicole, however, is a little bit reluctant to do this. And I get her reluctancy. Because if you, at decision day, you guys decide to stay together, then you guys go back to your own separate apartments. So it's basically like you're dating each other and you're setting schedules to see each other. So I understood what she was saying, right? So Pastor Cal stopped by to see them, and he's talking about how happy they are that things are working things out with them. I'm like, these two trauma bond. Do y'all not see that? I like Chris and Nicole, but at the same time, like I keep saying, almost every week, they trauma bond with one another, and it is scary, right? So Pastor Cal asked Chris, about how was her personality. It's all over the place from what I can see. But Chris says, he sees the great side. He sees all good in her. He hasn't saw the side that she tells him about. She's like, yes, she did. And they showed a flashback of her when she was going off about the picture that they decided to put in the apartment. She was pissed about that picture, right? So then they talked about the fact that she asked him quite often, if this were decision day, what would you say? I'm like, it kind of feels like you're trying to scare this man and pressure this man into saying yes when y'all get to decision day. So Pastor Cal asked her, why did she say that? I'm like, do you really want to know the answer to that one? Did they seek any kind of therapy before they came to this show? I don't think so. So we also found out that they've had sex with each other, and we also found out that they have decided that they are going to sign their leases for another 9 months, which, much like Pastor Cal, I get it, but I don't really get it at the same time. But let's pause here and move forward. All right, you guys, next up, let's talk about Gina and Clint. It's so interesting because when I came into this season, watching the first few episodes, meeting Gina, I thought I was gonna like Gina, but I'm starting to not like Gina so much because Gina is working my last nerves, right? So we see Gina and Clint as they went to her apartment, right? So it's really interesting because Clint is the one that's on board with wanting to go through this whole process, wanted to move into the apartment. Gina, however, is apprehensive and reluctant to move into the apartment, right? She's nervous because she's saying that she doesn't see any progression with the relationship. And in my notes, I say, dare I say it, I think I like Clint more than I do Gina. Oh, that is a little cut on my forehead. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. So Clint really wants to make this situation work, right? Whereas Gina, it's like Gina has, I was about to say 1 foot in and 1 foot out, baby. Gina got both feet outside the door. So at one point, Clint was talking to Gina about the apartment. He was like, how about, I sleep in one room and you sleep in the other room? She doesn't even want to do that. I'm like, oh my God, Gina girl, it ain't that deep. So Gina is still dealing with he likes slender and athletic women, right? And I gave Clint the blues for that, but I also gave Gina the blues. So Pastor Cal stopped by to talk to them, and she's still not wanting to move into the apartment because she still doesn't feel they're in a good place, right? So she brought up the comment about the slender and the athletic women. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Gina, yes, Clint said that, but you have been talking about his features as well. His red hair, calling him a ginger. And the man has repeated it more than once that you've offended him. And each time Clint says that you offended him, you have the rebuttal that it is said in the hair world. Ma'am, if somebody tells you that something offends them, it offends them. I don't give a fuck who says that it doesn't offend them. Clint and whoever else you deal with, they are 2, 3, 4 different people. Clint is telling you, I was offended. You can say, I am sorry. I was not trying to offend you. Like, that's my issue with Gina is making herself out to be the victim. It's like, bitch, you're not the victim. I'm not calling Gina a bitch before anybody get in the comments. I'm saying bitch just in the terms of saying bitch. Like, you are, ugh. I just don't like, I don't like it. And then also, why was Gina dressed like a mime? Did anybody catch that she was dressed like a mime the entire time that they were sitting with Pastor Cal? So both of them are willing to give the marriage a chance, but she's just not ready to move into the apartment. Girl, I really couldn't care less. So I would love it if they get a divorce too, because at one point Pastor Cal said, so is this gonna be y'all divorce day? Please let it be, but it's not. So then let's pause here and, oh God, let's move forward. Next up, you guys, Jasmine and hits from the streets. So we went to Jasmine's house in this episode, and her house was nice. Her dogs, oh my God, those puppies, they were so cute. I really want one of those puppies. So she was nervous about going to the house because of the dogs, right? So she shows him her crowns and she explains to him all of the crowns. And my only thing with Eris and with hits from the streets and Jasmine is that I just really hope that she doesn't fall in love with him, because I can see her falling in love with him, but I don't see it being reciprocated. I just don't think that he likes her. I don't think he likes her at all. I think it's a mixture of the physical as well as the fact that on the honeymoon, she didn't have sex with him. I think that hits from the streets is so used to women fawning over him, because if you listen to the things that he says, he's used to women fawning over him. He's used to women being eager to have sex with him. And he's not that good looking of a guy, but that's neither here nor there. But I think that's what he's used to. And I think the fact that she didn't sleep with him on the honeymoon right away, I think that was a hit toward his ego, and he hasn't recovered yet from that. That's what I'm gathering. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section, right? So Pastor Cal, he stopped by. He asked, her what did she think about him when she saw him on the wedding day. She was like, and that's the thing. She gives him so many compliments, and he gives her nothing. Not a damn thing, right? So then they talk about the honeymoon, and he asked them about the honeymoon. It was crickets at first, right? So Hits from the Streets is talking about how he's stressing because, my wife is so into me. You love to keep saying that she is so into you. My wife is so into me. My wife is this. My wife is into me. My wife thinks I'm a 12. My wife thinks I'm a this. You're doing that to boost your ego. Like, you trying to make yourself feel good. And that's why I say I wish when it comes to Jasmine that she would stop talking. I just wish she would just say, oh, he cool. Oh, he cool. It is what it is with him, right? Just say something like, stop. Because I think the more that she talks about how him in a positive way, like his appearance, that boosts his ego, and then he tears her down. And I do not like it, right? Because then he talks about how the fact that she's not his type. Shut up. I want her to get an annulment from this marriage. Please and thank you. Let's pause here and move over to God, these couples are horrible. Let's pause here and move forward. You guys, the success rate for this season, I just don't see it. I feel like this is going to be an abysmal season. I would be surprised if anybody other than Nicole and Chris say yes at decision day, because nobody else should say yes. Everybody else should say hell to the no. That is going from Dom to Mac, down to Gina and Clint, on down to Aaron, Jasmine, and Hits from the Streets, and damn sure Shaq and Kirsten. That's where we are now. Shaq and Kirsten, you guys. So I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. With Shaq and Kirsten, I don't listen to anything with their scenes because there's just absolutely nothing there but static and air. Nothing. So they went to her.
I couldn't find nothing there by static and Aaron in your Apple Music library.
I wasn't talking to you.
To play a radio station.
I was not talking to you. Thank you. So there's nothing there with those two, but just like I said, static and air. Absolutely. So they went to, now in this episode, I didn't realize that Kirsten, she had a lisp. I did not notice that until this episode that she has a lisp. I was like, oh, she has a lisp. Nothing wrong with a lisp, but she has a lisp. I still feel the same way I felt previously about Kirsten. Kirsten is not my favorite person. I don't see it for Kirsten. And I'll continue to say what I've been saying for the last few episodes. I wish when it comes to Kirsten and Shaq, I just wish that she would be honest that she's just not attracted to the man. She's not into, well, she did say it with Pastor Cal. So they went to her apartment. Child, her apartment looked like nobody lives there. It looked like she just moved in because she didn't have anything. Like, she didn't have any pictures of her family. She just didn't have nothing in that apartment. Nothing's wrong with that, but it's not what I expect from a woman. Like, I expect most women to deck out their apartments, but hers wasn't. So then they had their meeting with Pastor Cal. Again, one listening. All I heard, the only thing that I heard was when he asked them, is there any kind of attraction there? She says, not really. Girl, we know there's no attraction there. When it comes to Kirsten and Shaq, I tweeted this last night that it gives Good Judy vibes, and I'm not saying Good Judy to say that he is of, the other persuasion. I'm just saying it gives Good Judy in the sense that this gives, like, this is her male best friend, right? Not saying it in the sense that he's gay. I'm just saying that it just gives, this is my best friend. We go get manicures and pedicures together. We talk about relationships with each other, but it does not give a husband and a wife vibe. That is just what I'm gathering, you guys. But you guys can let me know if you picking up what I'm saying, right? Like, I just don't, there's nothing there. Nada. Flatline. There is nothing between Kirsten and Shaq, you guys. And then let's wrap the episode up, you guys. So let's pause here and wrap up the episode. All right, you guys. So let's wrap it up with my least favorite couple. You guessed it. Dominique and McKinley. So I still have the same sentiments and the same feelings that I've had for weeks now that I do not like Dominique. I think Dominique, oh, I can see why her mother signed her up for this show. Your mother was trying to pawn you off onto some other sucker. Like, your mama wants to get rid of you. Your mama just wants you to get away from her, right? So you guys remember in last week's episode that Dominique and Mac went to his best friend's parents' home in the basement, right? You guys remember she had that whole little stank ass attitude last week, right? So this week they're going over to her apartment, right? Now, let's talk about her apartment really quickly, right? Yes, he lives in a basement. Your apartment is look like it's about the same damn size as that basement, right? Because you'll walk into her apartment and that's that. You just walk in. You're like, technically it looked like an efficiency apartment, but I know it's not an efficiency because there's a wall that divides it, right? Because she had a small her living room ain't that big, her kitchen damn sure ain't that big, her bedroom is small, and then that bathroom, your bathroom is so fucking small. My bathroom, now I'm in a big one. I'm in one of the, stop, I'm not talking to you. Like, I have a big living room. One of these days I'm gonna show you guys my apartment. My living room is huge. You guys can see my kitchen, and it ain't a small kitchen. My bathroom is huge. I got a big walk-in closet. You can't even walk into her closet. And then she was in her feelings because McKinley wasn't asking her anything about her apartment, trying to get to know her. But were you trying to get to know him when you went to go look at his basement? You were judgmental. And that is the thing that I don't like about Dom. She's judgmental. And she talks about the fact that Mac complains, you complain too, little girl. And I want, like, the whole old soul situation. She is not an old soul. That is a child. Stop playing with me when it comes to her. So they got back to the apartment. Now, before they got back to the apartment, they were in the car, and she was still in her feelings because it felt like he didn't want to be at her apartment. He didn't want to be at your apartment because you made him feel like you. It's always about what Dominique wants. It's always Dominique, 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 Dominique. I ain't never heard her really mention what Mac wants or ask Mac what he wants, right? So they talked about his dogs. Now, I thought it was a little rude. I mean, I kind of was thinking the same thing when she was talking about the dogs. Like, yo, dogs, you've been here for 5 months. Why haven't you brought your dogs down here? Now, that's not to say that he doesn't care about his dog, but it is a little interesting. Like, why didn't you bring your, me thinking it is not in the sense, the way she was saying it, it did come off as if he doesn't give a damn about his dogs, right? Me saying it is just like, wow. I couldn't imagine I'm a dog person. I love dogs, right? I could, with my dogs, I couldn't be away from my dogs for too long, right? So it just made me think, like, damn, why don't you have your dogs? And that's no slight, no shade to him. I was just wondering that question. But from Dominique, I got it the way he got it. Like, it's like she was judging him. So they get back to the apartment. They got into it because she's talking about she doesn't want to have petty arguments with him. He's like, his dogs are not petty to him. And I love the fact that he actually called Dominique out, because Dominique really does try to put all the blame on Mac. But it's like, you got to own some of this too. You do come down hard on this man. You were judging him living in a basement. Let's be real about that. You were judging that man. And I mean, am I judging him? Not really. Not really. I'm just wondering, why haven't you tried to find your own place? I mean, like, I know he was saying he paid rent at 2 places and he didn't like either one of them, but never mind. I mean, because the apartment that I had before this one, I hated that apartment. And I didn't hate it because of I hated it because of my upstairs neighbors. That was it. But I mean, I still needed somewhere to stay. I ain't got really nothing for him. I'm not gonna come down hard on Mac. My issues really fall with Miss Dominique, right? So Pastor Cal paid them a visit, right? And she talking about, you got some explaining to do. I was like, excuse you, lady, lady. Say what now? Then she said, do you want something to drink? I was like, as if you live here and know what something to drink is, or what there is to drink. Who? I just don't like Dominique, you guys. I really don't like Dominique. I don't like her. I don't like her. With Dominique and McKinley, when they were talking to Pastor Cal, I tune out on them too because it's really it's Dominique. She puts all the focus. She puts all the focus and all the blame on Mac, and it's like it's not him. It takes two in this situation. It takes two people. You're equal party in this relationship. So put some blame on yourself. I don't see it for her. I don't like her. I don't. Then she said the dumbest comment that I've ever heard in my life. Well, I wish I wish you at least have 4 roommates. That way, you would have your own space. 4 roommates. How in the fuck would he have some room sharing a place with 3 other people? Or maybe how would he have room? That means, no, never mind. I just don't want to get into her. I just don't like that little girl. She is a child. She is a kid. That's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode of Married at First Sight. I don't want to keep going because with Dominique, I know that I'm just gonna keep ranting, and I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do it. But let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, share the video, and until the next time, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.